Hi, Sandy. Good morning. I'm just making sure all the technical stuff is working. Found myself on the computer. Hi, Vesta. There's some comments. Hi, Josephine. Good morning. Everything seems to be working just fine. So how is everybody this morning? If you're new, please jump on and say hi and let us know where you're watching from. For those who are new, Doris! Hey, Robin! You guys don't have your own little group going right now? Hi, Paula. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're here. So for those of you who are new who happen to be watching, my name is Julie Heights and I live in Toledo, Ohio, and I am the chirpy card maker of Quilts and More. Hi, Beth. Oh, you got to go back to school. Hey, Lori. Well, that's kind of exciting, right, Beth? Hi, Tony. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so I got a cute little card. Hi, Sharon. Are you ready to take notes? Speaking of notes, I will have a PDF that I will upload in the file section of the Kim. Hi. In the group Quilt Cards and More under files. Okay, so that will get done after the live. But I have the cutest little card, and actually I was trying to make it a bigger card, but the layering dies don't go big enough for like a standard A2 card. So I just went smaller so that I could show you that it can be really cute as a miniature. And then I can show you the envelopes that you can get for the 3x3 cards, and just thought I would do something like that. Plus, it's about time that I did something with the Christmas barn stamp set, because there's so much room to put a barn quilt on it. It just took me this long. So it's kind of funny. Hi, Della. From North Dakota. Hi, Jean. Well, I'm glad so many people are here. Della, thank you for sharing. Let's see, celebration ends Tuesday. It's almost over. So if there's any of the celebration items that you were wanting to get, you'll only have until the end of Tuesday to do that. Stampin' Up! Did add a lot of regular catalog items to your choices of if you met the $50 threshold, or there's some bigger ones for if your order is like $100. So you'll see all of that on the website. And when I put my camera down, you'll be able to see where to go to find my store and the host code that's for August. Hi, Jean. I know it was, Tony. It's a crazy fast 2 months. And can you believe, Zena, good morning. Can you believe that we're going into September 2022? I hate to say it, but it's darn near over, which is a good thing, because that means the Chirpy Doodle Fall Retreat in 2023 is that much closer. So later today or tomorrow, I am going to post a link to the inn where I'm holding the retreat, and some more information for those of you who would like to see it right here on the Chirpy Card Maker of Quilts and More on this page. And then there's always the PDF that's over in the group. Yes, on stage. I know, I'm so excited. So Tony, Jean, and I, we are all going to on stage as Stampin' Up! Demonstrators in Indianapolis. So we're going to get to hang out and have lots of fun. So I'm excited about that in November. Hi, Brenda. Okay, I hope that I haven't missed anybody to say hi to. I'm just going to scan right here. Thank you, Kim, for sharing. And thank you, Jean, for sharing. Yes, it is exciting. Vesta, you know, maybe someday an event will be held out near Colorado and I can come and visit and say hi. So let's turn the camera down. There's a few things that I want to show you that I picked up at the Dollar Tree for organization, and then we'll get started. So let me just kind of get some things situated here. Oh, I kind of did that kind of fast, so I hope I didn't make anybody dizzy. Just got to flip the camera. So let me push the computer back a little bit. Maybe come down just a little bit more. There we go. I think that's better. So this is my Stampin' Up! Store, and this is the host code. If your order is under $150, if you would use that, when I earn rewards, then I like to pick out little things to send you for the month that just went by as a thank you. So that is that host code. Before we get started on this little card, and I've made a whole bunch of them, I want to show you some things that I picked up at Dollar Tree not too long ago for organization. The first being this little case that's supposed to be for like your Hot Wheels cars and little people. Cute little container. Let me show you what I've done with it. And I got several because not all the Dollar Trees have these. And so when I found them, I made sure that I stocked up on them. So there's 6 compartments. Now the dividers are not molded to the bottom. So, you know, some things at the bottom will slide into the next compartment, but that's really not a big deal. The video keeps freezing. Yeah, Lori, go back out and come back in. My husband is not near the car. So, hi, Eileen. Jean's connection is fine. Okay. So, I just went and I organized my greenery. And if something does slide into the next compartment, that's really not a big deal. But I started like trying to organize my die cuts. So these are a cute little container. Whoops. Now I've gotten too tall there. A cute little container for organizing your die cuts or whatever. And then another thing that I found was the stackable organizing drawer. And what I like about it is like my larger die cuts will fit in there really nicely. And then it just slides back in. You can see through it. And then they're stackable. So those were just a couple of things that I wanted to show you that I picked up at the Dollar Tree, just to try to keep myself organized. So that's that. I thought I had a card here of Happy Mail. Let me check here. Oh, here it is. This card is from Mary Nabe. Some of you probably follow her Facebook page. She's a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator near Columbus, Ohio, who we have struck up a friendship. And actually, I'll be writing with Mary too on stage in November. And she sent me this cute little card. It's got the designer series paper. This would be the In Colors 2021, 2023. I believe this is it Pale Papaya? But anyway, she sent me this cute little card, and she's coming to retreat. So she sent me her deposit to hold her spot. So that was a really cute card from Mary. So that was my happy mail to show you. Okay, so let's get started with our miniature barn quilt. It's a miniature card and a miniature barn quilt. So will fit inside the 3x3 envelopes. They come in a pack of 40. And this is a really nice size card if you're attaching it to a gift. Maybe at Christmas time with the gifts, you don't want just a tag, you want something a little bit more elaborate. The Christmas barn actually has some Christmas sentiments with it, but this barn can be used year-round. So what I did was I used this sentiments from Lovely You, and this is the Christmas barn. Trying not to get the glare there. And I also have the dies that go with it, but we're not going to use the dies. So this is a circle gatefold. I've hidden the part that we're going to fold on the back. I've hidden that with a piece of designer series paper so you don't see it, but you can get the gist right here that it's going to get glued to the back. It's scored so that it comes over to the front, and we have our gatefold. Okay, what I am most impressed with is that when I first started playing with it, I was stamping the tree over here. And then I didn't have anything behind the barn. So I changed it up. And what I really, really like is that on the inside, there is a tree right here to take up this white space. And then I stamped another little greeting on the inside. And I think it just finishes it off really, really nicely. There's still room here that you can write your message. And this is the Abigail Rose Designer Series paper. In this instance, here's the Petal pink stripe. So you've got lines if you're worried about, if you are writing, you know, keeping your lines straight. Well, that Designer Series paper just took that worry away from you. But I really like how the inside finished off and just added more detail to the card. So that's what we're going to do today. And the reason why I chose the color Petal, the colors that I did, is because these colors coordinate with that Designer Series paper. Okay, so this was done in Smoky Slate. The one we're going to do today, I thought I was grabbing Early Espresso, but instead it was stamped in soft suede. But I actually like the soft suede better because it's just a little bit more calmer than that really dark Early Espresso. So, and then I brought in some birds. This is from the Horizons. On the Horizon, it's a stamp set that retired last year, but I had to bring in some birds. So if you don't have birds, that's okay. So we have here Cherished Friend. The one thing that I do want to point out when you're lining up your circle is that whatever you stamp on this side, if you're concerned about covering it up, like here, I couldn't really move this sentiment up any further. I could have moved this back some because what I was worried about is I wanted this little window here to show on the front of my card. So I could have scored even back to there, moving this back a little bit. But keep in mind, if you're doing the same card, just beware of where the scallop comes to and what you're going to do for your sentiment. And you might not even be using a sentiment. You might be using an image. But here's just because. And then for just because, I put smile on the inside. Here's another cherished friend. And here's heartfelt. And all of these sentiments are from Lovely You. So just be aware that when you close your gatefold, if you've got a sentiment that you want to see, you're going to want to put it higher up on that piece of basic white. Okay? Okay, so what we're going to do first is, instead of trying to cut teeny tiny little pieces of cardstock to make our barn quilt, this is still a teeny tiny piece, okay? I don't want to mislead you there, but it's a 1/2 inch square, and I'm going to lay it on my grid paper, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a 4 patch, which is just a plus sign, okay? And I'm using my grid paper because each of these squares are 1/4 inch. So if this is 1/2 inch square, then 2 quarters make a half. So what I'm going to do is just real lightly, I'm going to draw my lines in so I can make my four quadrants of my 4 patch. It does not have to be perfect. It's just going to be light. Like that. Okay. So we're going to draw or color in our quilt with Stampin' blends. I've done it in the Stampin' Right markers, and I've done it in the blends. And what I really like about using the blends is that you don't see the marker strokes. So I'm going to use Petal Pink. And then I'm going to put Petal Pink in the opposite corner. And it does what they say their names are. They blend. These are alcohol markers, and it's just so smooth you don't see the brush strokes. So that's what I really like about it. And I'm going to bring this down towards me just so that I can see a little better. And because it wants to feather a little bit, I'm going to come in with a marker and define the 4 patch. See, I kind of bled into the Petal Pink, but that's okay because I'm going to bring in the Early Espresso marker, and I'm just going to define the quadrants so I can kind of smooth out that feathering that happened along like that. Okay, so that's what I use the marker for. It helped cover up the feathering when the alcohol marker kind of hit the cardstock. So that fixes that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to layer our miniature quilt to a piece of Early Espresso. This was a 1/2 inch. This is 5/8 of an inch square. So let's just attach our quilt. And you could make a pinwheel out of a 4 patch. It doesn't have to just be these squares, but this was simple. And because working with such a small piece, it's very easy. But we could have easily done, whoops, I got something on the end of them. We could have drawn diagonals through both of these, and we could have done a pinwheel design in that 4 patch. So you can get more involved with your quilt pattern with this, but I wanted to keep it easy. And so we're now going to layer this onto the crumb cake. And that crumb cake square is 3/4 of an inch. I really should have my silicone mat out here, but I have to dig for it, so I'm not going to. So here we have our barn quilt, and we're just going to set that to the side for now. Okay, so we've put together our quilt. We'll put that to the side. And now what I want to do is bring in some stamping. I've already stamped the image of the barn. Okay, what I want to do is I've created a mask by stamping the image on a piece of scrap paper, cutting it out, because I want to put the pine tree on this side of the barn. So I'm going to lay that down, and then I'm going to bring in the tree. And again, I'm working with soft suede because I thought I had brought out the Early Espresso. I'm going to bring this down a little bit closer to me. Just tap, tap, tap. I always look at my block to make sure I don't have ink, because I have a tendency to push my stamps down into the ink pad, and you don't have to do that. But for whatever reason, I tend to do it. And I'm using the piercing mat underneath because this is photopolymer and I want to get a good impression. So I've got my mask on top of my barn. And let's just make sure that that's... Let me set that down. Okay. And so now when I use the mask, I may have to stand up to do this. I hope I don't get in the way. Oh, this is hard to do. And so there's my tree behind the barn. I could have gotten a little bit better at that, but that's okay. It's okay. Because if I really wanted to, where's my soft suede? If I really wanted to, I could come in and just kind of make those tree branches go a little bit further. Okay, if I wanted to fix it up a little bit. So there's the tree. And now what I'm going to do is, in the stamp set, there are here's a stamp that looks like footprints. So I'm going to put some footprints going up to the barn. Sad thing is I'm going to cut a lot of these off when I die cut the circle out, because we're not going to get the whole barn. But let's just put some footprints going up to the barn. And then I want to put some birds in there. So I'll bring out my birds. And again, see why I like to check, because, and I just tapped. But there's ink around the edges. Okay, let's see what happens here. Don't need the mat for this. And I'm going to have to bring it down to me. Whoops. Birds will be upside down. And so there are the birds. Okay? I get so nervous stamping and alive because, I don't know, I just do. I'm always waiting for me to drop the ink pad. So there's the birds. So as far as the dies I chose, so these are the layering circle dies. There are several, but I'm using the largest scallop and the largest circle. Okay. And I'm not going to do this on camera as far as running them through, but as far as placement of my circle, I want to make sure that I get my tree in. So you'll just want to position this to wherever you like. I think I'll be able to get all the birds in this one. The other ones I cut my birds off. Maybe I should have stood up to stamp. But you also want to make sure that your image is straight. And then I would run this through the die cut machine, Stampin' Emboss die cut machine. And then out of Petal Pink, I would cut a scalloped circle. So I've already done this ahead of time, okay? I'll go back and I'll finish that card later. So this was my image. You can see I cut off my birds a little bit. And then I glued it to the scalloped circle. So now what we're going to do is we need to put a score line in here so that we can create that fold that attaches to the back of the card. So what you want to look for is on your card, where do you want the edge of your scallop to fall in comparison with whatever you've got going on here on this side, okay? So it's worked out pretty good that as long as I put my score line behind this window here, I still have the gatefold, and as long as I put my sentiment where it should be, everything falls in line. So I'm going to want to score somewhere behind this window. So I am going to have to stand up here. And this is an eyeball kind of thing. I can see that my window is here. My track is here, so I can go over a little bit further. Again, making sure that my image is straight so it doesn't go on crooked. It's kind of hard to tell here with standing up, and I'm right over. So I think I'm going to try that. And this is a little thick because of the 2 layers, so just make sure you've got a really good and then can you see maybe down here if I tilt it just right. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a score line going through my image. Maybe right there you can see it. Okay, so anyway, I know you trust me. So I'm just going to fold it. And then give it a nice burnish. It is a little thick, but that's okay. It will work. Trust me. And now we will work on the card. So set that aside. So this is a 4 1/4 by 3 inch piece of basic white thick. And I've scored it 3 inches. So my card looks like this. Now, out of a sheet of 8 1/2 by 11 cardstock, you'll be able to get 6 of these cards out of one sheet. Just cut it at 4 1/4. So cut it in half. This is 8 1/2. So cut it at 4 1/4, and then cut them into 3 inches. So you'll be able to get 2, 4, 6 card bases, and you'll have some pieces left over for stamping or whatever you want to do with it. But you can get 6 of those cards out of 6 of these cards out of one sheet of cardstock. So we've got that. What I'm going to do, let me bring in that tree again. Let me do that. Well, you know what? We'll do all this stamping here when I stamp the back of. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's bring our 1 1/4 inch piece, 1 1/4 by 3 inch designer series paper. I want to make sure I've got this cut right. Yep. It just looked really fat. So I was hoping that I didn't cut it at 1 1/2. It's a good thing there's another piece that's going to go on there. I'm just going to lay that up to the crease. And if you've got anything hanging over, you can trim that off if it bothers you. But with it being a gatefold, I don't, unless it's really, really noticeable, I wouldn't fuss with it too much. Okay. I'm really not going to fuss with that. And then we'll put the inside in. Now, even though this is 3 inches square, you're going to have your score lines here. And so what I found is if I just took a sliver and cut this down to 2 7/8, or even the line right after the 3 inch, like this little line after the 3 inch. Oh, I've already done it. Okay. Then that will help reduce the bulk where things fold. So you can cut this down to 2 7/8, or that little line, it's a 16th, but I don't remember how many 16ths, right behind the 3, and that'll help you out. So let's put some glue on here. I really wish I could get to my silicone sheet, but it's buried. So this is going to leave me just a little tiny border all the way around, but that paper is not going to get into that fold, and it'll fold nicely. Okay. Now I'm going to take my sentiment, and this one is Wildly Grateful. This I'm going to put right here with a nice little border all the way around. My cutting was a little bit off, but it'll work. And just might go ahead and trim this. How many knew that was going to get to me if I didn't cut it off? So we have that. And we don't want to put our backing on yet because that is to cover up. Now, here I'm going to put my barn on. And I'm just going to kind of make sure my scallops are even. Okay. So I've got it like that. I'm going to flip it over and keep it centered. And then I'm going to put glue just right here. And it will hang over just a little bit. Just get it butted up as nice as you can. Press it down. And this is what I mean. You'll have a little bit of an overhang, but that's okay. So here we have our gatefold. Now we can put our back on, and that will cover that up. If you wanted to just leave this alone so that the image continued onto the back, you could do that. You would just, you know, stamp your signature somewhere on here that you made the card. But you could leave this white and just extend the image. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cover the back. And this is that second piece that is 3 inches square. I want to find, there we go. There was a direction with that leaf. And this is going to go edge to edge. The liquid glue helps me, it gives me some time to move things around, as long as you've got enough on it. Okay. And now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do my stamping. It's really simple stamping, so I'm not too worried about it. I could have done it before, but it's very simple. I just have to find my ink pad. Every time I get this out, it increases my chances of something going wrong. There, I thought I saw some ink on there. Oh, we're good. And I am just going to stamp my tree on the inside. I just love this tree on the inside of here. I just love it, love it, love it. And then Wildly Grateful, I'm going to go ahead and put Always. Okay, I'm going to try and do this straight. So, Wildly Grateful Always. It is so hard stamping when you're live. I'm so self-conscious of it. And the other thing is, if I was standing up, maybe it would be easy, but I just don't have that set up. So, you do what you can do, right? So there we have our card. The only thing left to do is put our barn quilt on there and then put your button or your signature piece on the back of your card. Center that. And then we can put our barn quilt on. And your card is complete. So I'm going to center my barn quilt between those two windows right above the doors. And that's it. This is just a really cute little card when you're not looking for a full-size card. I wish I had dies big enough that I could have made this a standard A2 card, but I don't have that. So, and when you look at this, this could totally be a Christmas card for, you know, to go with a gift. You could still do all of this in Christmas colors with designer series paper that is for the holidays. But what I wanted to show you, what was more important to show you is even though this set is called Christmas Barn, that it's not just for the holidays. Yes, it's got some wonderful sentiments. It's the most wonderful time of the year. That doesn't have to be Christmas. Maybe there's a wedding coming up and it's the most wonderful time of the year. So kind of think of your sentiments differently. Again, this is, now look, this wreath can go on your barn here. You've got the fence. But I just want to show you, when you look at this set, don't get taken by it's got to be for Christmas, because that is just not true. This barn can go for all year round. So keep that in mind. And then if you get the bundle, then here's the die that cuts the barn out. It'll cut the tree. This funny shape right here, I was like, what in the world does that cut out? Well, that cuts out, may joy fill your heart this season. So there is a die that will cut that sentiment out. At first I was like, what in the world? I kept looking for a stamp that looked like that and couldn't find it. So there's that. Here's another kind of gate. Here's a fence. There's a silo. Then you can cut the horses out. I believe this is another sentiment. This one right here probably does Merry Christmas to you and yours. And then there's some, like a snowdrift, or you could, I guess, make that a pond. Maybe you could make that a pond in one of your cards. A little sign, your wreath, some snowflakes. But that's what the bundle looks like. And here I had die cut some of those sentiments. So that's the bundle. But again, when you see this barn, much like the cabin that we had last year, that cabin doesn't have to be in a snow scene. It can be year-round. So if you love barns and you love barn quilts, this stamp set, I think, is pretty much a no-brainer for making cards with the barn and making a little miniature quilt. And that quilt could have gone, I think I did another one here to finish that card. But you could put your barn quilt right here in front, which is really rather large, but barn quilts usually are of good size. Or again, put it above the doors and between the windows. So just a really, really cool stamp set to have if you love barn quilts like I do, and I know a lot of you do. So a good stamp set to have. That's today's card. Vesta says, I fussy cut the sentiments in the bundle as I couldn't make them look right. Yeah, you're right, Vesta. That die that I showed you really does get close to the words. So I understand what you're saying. It really does. So I'm just going to bring in all of the little cards here. And this would make a cute little gift set for someone. A little hostess gift set or something. You could make some of these happy birthdays, thinking of you, thank you. Maybe tuck in a get well or a congratulations. And to do this card, you can put anything in your circle. It could be die cut foliage or flowers. I just wanted to show you the barn. Just use your imagination and just think of this as a blank canvas and whatever you want to put as your focal point there, okay? And you don't have to put your sentiments over here. When I first did my first card, I put the tree here. I didn't have anything behind the barn, and it just looked so plain. There was like no sentiments that kind of fit the space. So when I put the tree behind the barn and opened this up, then I could put a sentiment here. But I hated losing that tree. I hated losing it until I just put it on the inside. And I think this really is a nice touch to the inside of the card. So it all worked out fine. But I was really unhappy that I was losing the tree on the front until I saw that, well, why not just put it on the inside? So just a cute little, I got one more to make, and that's the one that I stamped for you that I'll just finish putting that together. And so there's these cute little cards here. Hi, Tammy. Oh, you're welcome. Hi, Jean. Thanks for sharing. Again, use your imagination. Gloria. Hello. And page 28 of the mini catalog. Is that for where the stamp set is found? No, the stamp set is in the big catalog. Oh, I see you're helping Sharon out. Well, thank you for doing that, because I totally have missed a lot of the comments. Let's see. Jean says if you did it perfectly, didn't have inky fingers, you wouldn't be a stamper. I love that. Nancy, how are you? It's so good to see you here. Oh, I love seeing that you guys are conversing with each other. So after lunch, I'll go back and I'll read the comments too and see what was what you were saying there. Since we have a few minutes, I guess I will remind you that Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be putting the August Barn Quilt card kit together on a Facebook Live right here on this Facebook page. And then I will be showing you September's. So that's coming up on Tuesday. So I'll see you again on Tuesday. And other than that, I'll see you, if you don't make it Tuesday, I'll see you next Thursday. What I'm trying to do is switch it up by doing different kinds of cards, throw in some 2D, maybe 3D projects. So I'm not sure what next week is going to be, but it'll be fun. And I want to try my hand at some 3D projects, so don't be surprised if it's a 3D kind of thing. And I think that's it. I look forward to seeing what your little miniature cards look like when you share photos of them over in the group Quilt Cards and More. If you don't know about that group, there's a tab on the Chirpy Card Maker page that says Groups. Click on Groups, choose Quilt Cards and More. You do have to request to join, but I'll get you in there. And then you can see all the creativity that others have done and are sharing with everyone. So That's where I'm going to go look to see what cards you did today or in the next few days. I can't wait to see them all. So everyone, have a blessed day, and I will see you Tuesday night. And if not Tuesday night, then I will see you next Thursday. Thank you for being here with me today.